Okay, well, guys, we'll get to it. And I see Tasha is on. Tasha, welcome, welcome. These are most of these leaders are my team and my downline, and then Jana is my upline. I don't even know how many millions of dollars worth of earnings we have on here, but this is a pretty badass group of leadership. I mean, they've all made they all make a living in network marketing and have big
Cool.
teams. And so yeah, I'm pretty excited today. So just a little bit like of a just kind of a intro for Tasha. A lot of you know that I worked with Jenna Larson last year. She was amazing. She taught, and Melissa and I both did. She taught us so much about sales and the processes, and I loved working with her. And Tasha's actually her coach. And so, I mean, any friend of Jenna is a friend of mine just because I loved and trusted her so much. Like Melissa and I even flew to Nashville to meet with Jenna and hang out and go to a conference and just be with her because we just were so kinetically drawn to her. We met her in California, just like she just was awesome. And so her and Tasha have worked together very close in hand. In fact, Tasha baptized Jenna, which is pretty cool for because we're all believers here and we all love and serve Jesus. And so really cool. But I love what Tasha stands for. I love the work that she's doing. And if she's Jenna's coach, then she's pretty amazing because Jenna's pretty badass. And so I'm in Tasha's free group. I do a lot of her trainings and follow her lives. She's got great content. And she came to me a couple of weeks ago and she goes, hey, one of our core values and she'll tell you a little bit more about this is, generosity and just like showing up and giving people really good content and helping them. And, like we know that, good seed sown, you reap a good harvest, right? And so she said, I would love to like work with some of your top leaders and do a really good sales training on recruiting. And I said, I bet they would love that because I mean, Tasha, honestly, none of us have had professional sales training. Well, maybe Jana has. Jana's been in the industry like what, Jana, 20 years, like crazy long time. So Jana might have some professional sales training. All the rest
19.
of us, 19, yeah. All the rest of us are just super like we are organic virgin network marketers. I mean, Melissa's done some other companies, but like as far as like having success, you know, that's kind of how it works. Yeah, since she was 5, exactly. Yes, exactly. So, anyways, I'm really excited for you guys to meet Tasha, and I'm excited for this training. And thank you guys for this last minute jump on. It's a small enough group. We can ask questions, we can talk, but I just told Tasha just to run with it and just dump her brilliance on us, and we're excited. So take it away,
Cool.
girl.
Thank you so much. I am super excited to be here. It is 7:30 in California. So just to give you an idea of how excited I am to be here. Here's our agenda for today. I think we should just open up the conversation with what is hard for you when it comes to recruiting. Anything goes. You're probably wondering who the heck is this Tasha person and should I listen to anything that she says? And I think that's a fair question. So I'll give you a little bit of background and then we're going to go into the 5 keys that I have for you for recruiting. I think we're going to do like 30 to 40 minutes of training, maybe a smidge longer. I cannot teach you everything that I know about leadership development in 45 minutes, though. I think that's pretty obvious. And we do have a 9-week coaching program. It's our foundational course on time management, goal setting, retention, recruiting, sales, language. And I'll walk through that at the end. If it's helpful for you, great. If not, no big deal. How does that sound as an agenda for today? Okay, cool. I also want to just note, have you guys ever been to a teaser training?
Yeah.
Chris is like, yep, I know what those are. So teaser trainings are, I'm going to promise you the world. I'm going to give you every secret to go. What's the one I saw recently? Broke to 8-figure income, free training. And they promise you everything. And then you end up sitting there for an hour and a half and hearing this person's entire life story with 0 bits of implementation unless you buy their $10,000 program. Have you guys been to trainings like those? Okay, do you like them? Me neither. So here's my promise to you today. We are not going to do a teaser training. We are going to talk as if you guys are paying clients. Everything that we have for you today is pulled out of our programs and given to you so that you can do better this week. So my goal for today is that you're able to leave with some actual words to say in order to move your business forward and become a more powerful recruiter. Does that sound like a good deal? All right, super. So let's go ahead and just start off with, let's open up Pandora's box. And what's hard for you when it comes to recruiting? And anything goes. And I do understand
finding people who are willing to work.
Yeah, okay. Who can relate to that one?
Getting people off the fence. You hear all their sub stories and all the things that we've all had, but then they won't just freaking pull the trigger and
Yeah,
order. And they have all the reason in the world to do it.
yeah. And that's for product, Chris, is it Krista or Krista Lee?
Krista, and both product or business. They have all the reasons to do both, and they just won't flip and do it.
Yeah, that's super frustrating, right? Go ahead, Gina.
I think all of us on here are probably pretty good at recruiting, and the leaders in our company are pretty good at recruiting, but our company as a whole, we don't have enough what they call Uber drivers, and getting new people that say they want to build a business and, like Melissa said, to follow through, but something like, I don't know, it feels like there's just like a quiet quitter pandemic. People don't want to do the do, and maybe just something. I guess I'm hungry for something teachable and simple for the brand new person to come in and start winning more quicker. If that's even more quicker, start winning faster.
I think more quicker is 100% the right way to go about it. Yeah.
I want to see more people winning. And I know that it's not on me. I'm not responsible for anybody's success, nor am I responsible for anybody's failure. But I do want to do everything I can do as a leader, mentor, coach to set them up for success. And I don't think we have, like, I don't know. Do you guys feel that way? Just like a cut and drive, this 1, 2, 3. Anyway.
Yeah. I think also when you've been in the business for 19 years, you've probably been to so many best practices seminars. And the way it kind of feels is I'm making a puzzle and I have 3 horse pieces, 3 cat pieces, 3 dog pieces, and I'm trying to make a unicorn. And I'm everyone's like, and you're the problem if it's not working. And like, I don't have the right pieces to the puzzle in order to put it together. I think that's well said. Thank you, Jana. Finding people who follow through. I'm getting them to stick around 90 days. After hot market.
Yeah, that's really good. After hot market. I don't know who said that.
Okay, good. So here's what here's what I wrote down. Finding people who will work, getting people off the fence to pull their trigger, getting new people started and getting them quick wins. How can we set people up for success? 90 or more days, and then after the hot market. Is there anything that I missed? No, good. All right, cool. Does it feel better just to get it like out of your mouth a little bit and know that you're not the only person who is encountering these things? Yeah, be vulnerable. Awesome. Okay, so before I get into the scheduled programming for today, I do want to share with you a little bit of background, because if it were me, I would not take advice from anyone whose values I did not share. So I want to start off with a disclaimer. I am not an active network marketer. I have one redeeming quality. I like to buy all of your things. So here's how we got here. I started after a brief stint at Blockbuster Video. So I'm a little bit, that dates me, older than Jana for sure. I started my career selling Cutco knives. Do you guys know Cutco knives? So I was that college student. So I was 20 years old selling knives. I graduated, became a leader, sold about $150,000 worth of knives, 1.4 million in team sales, and recruited probably about 1,000 sales reps. So my entire early 20s was spent teaching 18-year-old kids to sell $1,000 sets of knives to housewives when their husbands weren't home. And we're pretty good at it. Now this is back in the 2000s before network marketing is cool like it is today. And so I took that experience and took it into corporate America. And I was a new hire trainer and a sales manager. And of course, I worked in sales and then was promoted to new hire trainer and then sales manager. And I was 35 years old. So I'm 42 now, just for context in the story. I live in Southern California. So I was driving an hour and 15 minutes each way to work. And I was salary capped in my sales manager job. What do you guys think about that? Thumbs down. Salary capped, so no advancement. I was looking at the next 30 years of my life, making the same amount of money, putting up with the same nonsense for the next 30 years, driving the same drive for the next 30 years, and that didn't feel good. And so I thought, well, I want to do something, but I only know how to do one thing, and that's teach people how to sell things. So I put up a podcast, and I wanted to coach entrepreneurs. So I thought in my mind, like CPAs or IT professionals that would be really good at what they do, but they wouldn't know how to actually get clients, what to say. I had 3 podcast episodes up, and then my friend Catherine, we were at karate, our kids go together, and she said, closed her eyes, she's so introverted. Would you like to come to my thing, right? And I said, well, I will come to your thing if you listen to my podcast. So, I mean, most people would make that deal, right? So she listens to the podcast, and she sends me a text later, says, I think I might want to hire you. Catherine had been making $50 a month for 2 years straight. I fixed her sales conversation. She made $450 the next month. Her upline hired me. She enrolled 12 new customers the next month, which was more than the previous year. So naturally, I'm making $400 a month. It's a good time to quit my job, right? Yeah, Krista's on board. So I left my job because how am I supposed to get more clients if I have a job? I left my corporate job. Kim's upline hired me. That person's upline hired me. We coached their team of 35 leaders through our sales course. Their team went from a little under 400 enrollments that September, new customers, to 800 the following month. That billion-dollar company sold out of their signature kit 3 times because when you 5 times your closing percentage, your company is not ready for that. Most people will make sales to 1 out of 10 people. When our clients started making sales to 5, 6 out of 10 people, there started to be a run on the product. So a lot of people will say, well, Tasha, why does your training work so well? And I think it's because of this. We are not your upline saying, do what I do. We come from your customer's perspective to say, gosh, could you please just make it easier to move forward? We believe this. If you believe in the life-changing properties of your products, we have a moral and an ethical obligation to learn how to sell well. Because if we don't know how to sell well, then our customer's in trouble. So what does this even have to do with recruiting? Most of the time, network marketers looking at recruiting as a way to help them. Here's my question. Who benefits the most when a new builder is launched? Is it okay if I use the word builder, business builder? Is that okay? I know everybody has their own words and it's hard to keep track. Who benefits the most when a business builder is launched? Haley says me. Them? Guys, the customers.
Oh.
The customers benefit the most, right? Do you believe in the life-changing properties of your products? Okay. Recruiting is something we do for customers, not to customers, because how will people ever hear about your amazing products if we do not launch business builders? People that benefit the most when a business builder is launched is the community around the business builders. Can you guys imagine your life right now without your products? That is how all of these potential business builders communities are currently operating. And we must save them. So here's our training philosophy, even for recruiting. Our customers come first, our team comes second, and our ego comes third. How does that feel as a philosophy when we look at recruiting? Good? Cool. When I started my business, I thought, okay, we'll focus on helping people with the words and sales, and that's how we started. And I had my first network marketing client who asked me for help with recruiting. She was making $17,000 a month, which is pretty solid, right? And she says, Tasha, help me with recruiting. I was like, what am I going to say to someone who's making $17,000 a month? But okay, tell me what you say. And she says, okay, I tell him it's really hard and someday it'll be worth it. I did that with my eyes. I was like, let's stop saying that immediately. Because that is not something that's going to attract people into the business. What we have to understand about network marketing recruiting is that we are interrupting people's lives, right? They're just like going along their lives. And we're like, hey, want to start a business. We need to understand where people are and meet them where they're at in order to bring them along. The other thing we need to consider is why people resist network marketing. So why would people resist doing a network marketing business? What do y'all think? Or what have you noticed?
They think it's slimy. They have to sell stuff.
They gotta be
They-
pushed to their friends.
Time.
So
They don't have time.
Yeah. Yeah. So slimy, pitch to their friends, time, what else?
I think what I said earlier, and it might be the mindset, because I said it would benefit the distributor or benefits them.
Yeah.
And so people are afraid to be benefited. But really the truth is it is benefiting their customers. And I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner, because that's how I got so many people to do it with me my very first years. I went to them and said, I can sign up your friends or you can sign up your friends, but your friends trust you and love you and you're going to be helping your friends.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do it.
Well, at some point, Melissa, truthfully, if can we do real talk? Or, I mean, I've only known you 19 minutes, so I don't know if it's okay. The thing is like, we start off really customer centric.
It's
then
too
when it-
political, Tasha. Just conversation.
Just go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're not even friends. You can't even unfriend me if I offend you. So, we start off very customer centric. And when it becomes our career, we're like, I only want to work with serious business builders.
So true. I've heard that
These
from most
these
people on this Zoom.
a-holes, right? Like, we start off with, it'll be fun. Let's try it and do it together and see what happens. And then it becomes our career. And we're like, if you are not 100% serious and perfect in every single way, as if you're an employee that I'm paying a salary, but I'm not, you're dead to me.
Mhm. So true.
Right.
So true.
We need to fix some of that for us. So there are things that we cannot control when it comes to leadership, whether you're someone like me who hires employees whom I own, I mean, whatever. Or if you're bringing in network marketers who are independent contractors, please remember they're independent contractors contracted by your company, not even by you. You don't even pay the contractors.
Mhm.
So we need to
I'm trying to
honor.
get on my computer when you get a chance. Will you let me in?
Yeah, Crystal will do that, right?
All right.
So yeah, I think what we need to do is we need to focus on what we can control. So instead of like saying, okay, well, this is hard because they think this and they're bad because they think this, we think, okay, what can I control? What can they control? Gallup has done tons of research. Here's what people want in a leader: trust. This is Gallup's research: trust, compassion, stability, and hope. Trust, compassion, stability, and hope. Here's the straight question. Does our recruiting process communicate trust, compassion, stability, and hope? And what I'd like to do is move into some steps that you can take starting today in order to have a recruiting process that demonstrates trust, compassion, stability, and hope. How does that feel? All right, cool. Let's do it. Here's slides. If you guys want, I do have this in cheat sheet form. So if you just want to print it, we also have a free share policy. So as long as you don't charge for this, or pretend that you wrote it yourself, you can share this with your team members.
Question.
So
So customers want trust, compassion, stability, and hope. Or
everybody,
distributors? Okay.
everybody wants trust, compassion, stability, and hope. So this is, Crystal asked me to do recruiting training, but this philosophy goes through every area of your business. And in Q&A, I can explain the connection between customers and recruiting in more detail, Melissa. I'm happy. I can stay later. I just want to make sure that we get you something helpful. I will argue that sales is leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we're asking people to do is we're finding a problem, solving the problem, and asking them to go from here to there, which means that sales is leadership. So all of our sales training, Melissa, says, does your sales process build trust, compassion, stability, and hope? Your customers, you have to have product conviction. This is not part of this presentation, but I'm going to address Melissa because it's on your mind. If they don't have product conviction, they're not going to do well, right? So the sales process must trust, compassion, stability, and hope. The recruiting process, trust, compassion, stability, and hope. The mentoring process, trust, compassion, stability, and hope. Now, today I'm going to give you specific language for your recruiting process, but these steps are applied in sales, customer retention, and recruiting. And what we look at is a would you like fries with that strategy. So let's jump into the words, and then we will, Melissa, I'll have time for questions or any clarification. Okay, can you guys see these slides? Okay, we're going to start here. I found this quote several years ago. And if you're standing with other women in a circle and there is a woman standing alone in your circle's vicinity, the thing to do is notice her, smile at her, move over a bit and say, hi, come join us. Even if she decides not to join your circle, even if she looks at you like you're crazy, inviting her is still the thing to do. This advice is meant for both literal and figurative circles. Widen your circle all the time. What's interesting about this author is she's incredibly introverted and doesn't even respond to texts. You would think that this quote was written by an extrovert, but it is not. Being inclusive is a way of life, not a task on your list. To be a consistent recruiter, we need to understand that it is our job to invite, and it is their job to decide. It is our job to explain the varying levels of involvement, and it is their job to choose which level of involvement fits their life in that season. Widen your circle all the time. Our job is to invite, their job is to decide. Okay, first, math. Most network marketers will complain about why aren't they finding more people. And here's just some estimates, and your company might be a little bit different. But here are some estimates just to consider. 4 to 8 customers to start one team member is a pretty solid industry average. If you invite 2 to 4 people, I think I have the language in here. If not, I'll give it to you. We say, I don't want to make any assumptions. Would you like to know how to get free product or income with Singular? And you say that to 2 to 4 people, one person will probably say yes to having a conversation with you. Here's the question. If we're like not recruiting enough people, my first question is, how many times are you saying, would you like to know, I don't want to make any assumptions, would you like to know how to get free product or income with Singular? If it's not 2 to 4 people a week, we're in trouble. Because it will take 2 to 4 appointments to get one person to start. So this means in a given week, month, day, if you want to get a started builder, that's going to be 9 to 16 invitations. Our job is to offer, their job is to decide. Does this math help a bit? We have to work in the real life of network marketing. Jana, please.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, this is in what you're gonna, is gonna
The
be.
cheat sheet. Yeah, if you message me, I'll give you the cheat sheet.
Okay,
It has
perfect.
everything. My stellar employee, my 13-year-old daughter made you all a cheat sheet, so we'll make sure, I'll send it over after we're done. Yeah, you don't have to take pictures. We got you. How does this feel to start? Math?
I like it.
I think it feels just like our 2-2-2 process that we've been teaching 5-5-5. So I like it.
Melissa,
Well, I guess my question is, do you say that to people that are not on product?
yeah, so that's up to you. So I'm gonna put that in the Q&A, business first. I do
Okay.
have some language for business first recruiting. And I think that you'll like it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you like, yes, do it or don't do it. You are the CEOs of your business. What I'm hoping to do is help you to have understanding of your bottlenecks and smooth out some of your wording so that you can feel confident stepping into any situation and saying the things. But most importantly, the words I'm going to give you in the next few tips, they're written for 4th graders.
Perfect.
Which means your team members can read them. The biggest problem in network marketing is not your recruiting. Well, there's a problem because, right, career builders start to try to only find committed builders, and that doesn't really work so well. But your team 3rd level duplication is a big problem, right? Okay.
Right.
Because people like you recruit with charisma, and the people you recruit need to recruit with processes. And so if you don't have 4th grade language, because you're all like, just talk to people. And people like me are like, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, I just talk to them. And so what we need to do is we need to have outlines that anyone can execute that will be effective if they just read them or memorize them. All right, so tip number 2, be professional. So remember, what we're trying to do is we're trying to overcome the objections of slimy, pitch friends, who does this benefit? But we're handling it before it comes up by the way we treat people, not after it comes up and now we're being reactive. So the invitation that we love is, I don't want to make any assumptions. Would you like to explore how to earn free product or income with Singular? And you can put this in a lot of different places, right? If you're going business first, you can say something like, Melissa, I don't know if you know what I do for my career. I think you might like it. And it's a good, here's the magic line. It's a good business because it's a good product. And I don't want to make any assumptions. Would you like to explore how to earn income with Singular? Now this, I don't want to make any assumptions line really helps. Any ideas why?
Just lowers resistance, I think.
Takes pressure off.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off.
Now my invitation is a gift instead of a take, right? Nobody wants anyone to make any assumptions about them. So if I start anything with, I don't want to make any assumptions, you're like, absolutely do not make assumptions. Just tell me, ask me directly, please. But if you just say, hey, what's up? Would you like to do this as a business? They're like, whoa. How do we be direct and soften the blow, but not blunt, right? That's a big question. And the answer is buffers. I don't want to make any assumptions. I want to make sure you're included. I thought this might be right up your alley. Buffers. So they say yes, no, or maybe. Usually what I do is set up a quick chat to go over how it works, what you would do, and then you can see if you would enjoy participating. If it works out, great. If not, no big deal. I just want to make sure you have all of the details. It would probably take about 20 to 30 minutes. Is that something you'd be open to? We eliminate words like, you should do this. Ouchie. Right? We'll say, we're not going to invite them to the business. We're going to invite them to a conversation about knowing what the business entails. We're going to let them know what we're going to go over, how long it's going to take, remove pressure, and then do something very few network marketers in the world do, gain consent. How do you think people will respond to this?
They'll say yes or no.
They'll say yes or no. You don't have to play the follow-up game. You don't have to worry about, right? Like, do I approach them at the baseball game or not. You don't have to talk their ear off at the party. You can just invite them to a conversation. And if they say yes, cool. And if they say no, no big deal. If you change your mind, the door is always open. You know where to find me. How does this feel for tip number 2?
Tasha, is that something you do face to face?
All right. So
Everything-
these are just communication principles wherever. Who's saying that, by the way?
Sherry.
I can't find you. Oh, there you are, Sherry. Okay.
Sorry, I have my daughter, so I'm trying to stay
Yeah,
on mute.
you're good. I just couldn't, like, I usually can see when people unmute. Anywhere, right?
But I mean, is it preferably to do this face to face or send a voice message or text them? I mean, is this something you should always do person to person? In your opinion?
Oh, are you talking about like versus mass text or mass emails or anything?
Well,
like
no, like person to person text or person to a voice clip or something.
I think the best way to reach out to people is the way you're actually going to do it.
Okay.
So if you are the type of person who prefers making the call, make the call. If you're the type of person who will only send a text and that's how you communicate, then send the text, right? We need to look at what is our activity. Oops, let me back up, right? How many times have we said it first? Then we can say, well, I'm doing everything over text. I'm not getting the results I want. So maybe I'll switch it up. But let's at least start with doing the thing.
What I like about this is it takes away the pressure for you trying, especially when you're working in your cold market like I've been for the last couple of years. It takes away me trying to be ingenuine. Looking at, like, because, and be like, hey, I find somebody that has a lot of friends. I'm like, hey, you'd be really good at what I do. Like trying to give them a compliment and then go for the question. I like that this takes away. I don't have to be ingenuine and try to make up something that I'm complimenting them over.
Yeah. Well, and they see it too, right? They're going to respond a little bit differently. And there's just a bunch of places you can do this, right? So if someone signs up as a customer, I'm gonna place your order. It'll be here on such and such day. I don't want to make any assumptions. Would you like to explore how to earn free product or income? Boom. 1/3 of those people or half are going to say yes right off the get-go. You can upgrade them within 2 weeks. You can do business first, which I talked about. You do a follow-up appointment. We teach our people to do wish list appointments to increase second month orders and lifestyle change. So there you can say, most people want to know just out of curiosity how the income works. I don't want to make any assumptions. Since we last spoke, would you like to explore how to earn free product or income? Right? There's just a lot of different places you can do it. It's versatile. You can do it in different modalities, but it gets the invitation out there. But in a way, people are likely to respond positively to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ready for number 3? Cool. How it works language. So we don't want to just say, do the business, do what I do, because what does that even mean? Now you can edit this for your particular sales process. I believe you guys have a Facebook group. Not everyone I train has that. So just from a simple perspective, that second line you guys can edit. But the way it works is pretty simple. We invite people to one-on-one conversations or events. We explain how the products and business work. People decide. I do not believe in being high pressure or spammy, but I'm sure you already know that by how I've treated you. Do you feel comfortable with how I speak with you?
Wow. I like this.
Tell me more, Melissa.
So, like, just thinking back over my journey and thinking about like what I woke up to this morning with a distributor, where people get stuck in Singular, especially where I was stuck when I started Singular, is that I would maybe do the approach and I'd be like, hey, I don't want to make any assumptions. Would you like to make income and get stuff from Singular? Nobody's heard of Singular. So like, well, what is Singular? And for a long time, we were told, don't say Singular, don't do that. So I didn't even know what to say. So until one of my distributors, Jana Bullard, came on and she was saying, we can help you figure out your goals, needs, and budget. Like that helped me then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like for a long time, I didn't even know really what to say because I just vomit on them about what Singular was because nobody knew what it was.
Well, right. And that's like the company name that is a totally different thing. My thought process is if you are building trust, compassion, stability, and hope, they're not researching on the internet. If you like we can't hide stuff in 2023, guys. Like, it's not possible. Maybe in 1997 we could. But we can't hide anything now. And the fear of saying the company, the fear is that they'll go and Google search and Instagram search or whatever. But if our process establishes trust, compassion, and stability and hope, are they going anywhere?
Hopefully not.
Like, if I've done my job today, hopefully, trust, compassion, stability, and hope, maybe a couple of you are like, I think maybe sales training. Are you going to go Google sales training? If you want sales training, you're going to go to the person you trust. That's just kind of the point, right? So if our recruiting process builds and our sales process builds trust, compassion, stability, and hope, they would have no reason to go to Amazon or go, right? Because they trust you. They know you care about them. And we need to make sure our sales process does the flexing, right? Instead of using simply our charisma, which I know all of you have tons of, but charisma is not duplicatable. Okay, so do you see how this handles the slimy and pitch friends objection before it comes up? Right? I do not believe in being high pressure or spammy. I'm sure you already know that by how I've treated you. Do you feel comfortable? They say yes, and we've taken that one off the table. Compensation language. This is where people get really, really tripped up. So instead of going over every single detail, I don't want to overwhelm you with details, so I typically give an overview of compensation. If you want a super detailed explanation, I can get you some great resources. Which would you prefer, super detailed or simple? Most people will say, simple, please. You'll have a few people who will say super detailed. You will not be able to close them on the first anyway. So we can just send them videos and work with them. It'll take them like 60 days to make their decision. That's their decision-making type. The simple people, let's not turn them away by confusing them. In the short term, you'll earn blank percentage of sales from new customers. In the long term, you'll train a team because you can't sell all the stuff yourself. You'll earn commission and bonuses from what they sell and from what your customers continue to buy, just like any other business. How does that sound? We want to normalize network marketing. One approach is to make network marketing be very different. But different creates anxiety in the general population. Most popular and simple, and just like everything else you already know, is going to create less anxiety. So we don't want our recruiting process to create anxiety. We want it to create safety, stability, right? So we're just going to explain the compensation plan like every other business. The Subway up the street, how do they make sales? They get new customers. They train a team because they can't sell all the sandwiches themselves. They earn commission and bonuses from what everyone sells and what customers continue to buy, right? Every business operates this way, just like any other business. They're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Network marketing is just normal, which is a big part of the battle, isn't it? Number 5, focus on the next step instead of all of the things. So you go through your recruiting conversation. The first step is set up a date where you invite your top 3 to 5 people, either to learning about the products or to learn about the business. Then you'd invite people to it. I'll share the info for the first one, like I did with you. People can decide, how does that sound? Sounds good. Great. Do you want to go ahead and set up that date?
And what is it?
Just whatever your conversion event is, your launch event. With where you guys are in your career, I'm not going to tell you what your launch event has to be, Jana. But whatever your launch event is, that's the it.
What is other people's launch event with companies that you work with? I'm just curious.
Well, we have the normal in-person class, party, workshop, whatever you want to call it. That is the simplest launch event. It doesn't have to be forever, but it's the best way to get them their first quick wins. What we coach on, Jana, is the milestone method to mentoring, which is how do we get their next first instead of trying to get them all the way at the very beginning. So the mission is first customer, period. So that can be a day of 3-way calls. That could be a group Zoom. That could be an in-home party model. It could be a Facebook event. But we want it to be a private launch because you will eliminate what's called free rider syndrome. Free rider syndrome is where if everyone is invited, nobody shows up voting. So if your launch process isn't like deadline based for your new builder, you will have way more failure to launch. So sometimes as people's businesses grow, and you have to balance the risks and the benefits, right? Because if you're launching 5 builders a month, then this becomes untenable. But ideally, it's okay, let's set up your launch event for next Thursday. Between now and then, we've got to invite about 15 people so that 5 people show up so you can get your first 3 sales. How does that feel? That way, if people want to get it, great, but there's no pressure for people that don't. So you're working in all that failure rate. But humans are motivated by deadlines. And if you don't have a deadline, that is the #1 reason your people are not moving. So if you're using your Facebook group, right, and you're like, okay, so the next step is to invite 5 people to the Facebook group. Well, there's no deadline. There's no accountability. So they'll just kick it to next week, next week, next week, next week, next week, next month, next season. Summer's busy, fall's busy, winter's busy, spring's busy, summer's busy. And all the while, they'll be believing they're moving forward. Thoughts, Jana?
Do you get like give them verbiage to invite, like how to invite people?
Yeah, for sure. We would update that usually approach to sales. Yeah. All right, so those are the 5 keys that I have prepared for you today. I am curious, what did you find helpful? Or what was the thing that you liked the most, or your takeaway? Or go ahead, Melissa.
I like where you're constantly going back and asking, how does that feel? Because that's how I was taught to sell when I went to work for Wells Fargo and went to work for the bank, is that you keep asking and then you keep moving forward. And you keep asking, move forward, you ask and move forward. And I feel like when we got adopted Fast Chat, especially, y'all, we stopped asking. We stopped getting into these conversations to find out where the customer really needed help. And therefore, that's also why we started accepting them only buying 1 or 2 products. And Kaylee and I experienced it this week. We're still working with the girl, but like she only wanted to buy 1 or 2 products. And like both Kaylee and I are like, no, we're stopping that. You will not have success. You already told us what you wanted. We had her on a video chat and we were like, you already told us what you wanted. These 2 products will not get you there. And that's how I was 5 years ago, you guys. But in the last few years, I've gotten out of that. And then what happens is they freaking don't reorder.
All right.
So
Well, they don't
We've
see
gotten out of the habit of expecting a response. And in the not expecting a response, we're not actually giving them what they need to be successful. So then when we let them get what they want that they're not going to be successful on, they think it's our products and it doesn't work.
Yeah. 2 most popular kits is the sales language we operate with, Melissa. We utilize all these keys in the sales process as well, but we always want to give 2 options and we just call them, these are our 2 most popular kits. And like, I want to do what's popular. Just do it, whatever you say.
Well, that's what Crystal did with me.
Well, exactly, right? And this wasn't about like, remember what you used to do, but are you seeing some themes? Yeah, Jana, go ahead. What did you find helpful?
Oh, this just completely takes me back to when I was in my early 20s and actually did a direct sales company before social media. And, that's what we did, was make appointments to see who was open. And we came completely prepared with a notebook with a flip book. Okay, here's your options. Okay, basically exactly what to say for me, what to say to them, and asking questions. And it was just all like laid out step by step what I should do as the consultant.
Yeah.
However they responded. And our job was to just go present, not drag, convince, or sell somebody. But yeah, I think just having the tools, it's just it was like tangible in my hands when I went, and I felt really confident and clear about what the mission was when I went out there. And I think a lot of times brand new people don't do that because they don't have the charisma, or the confidence to know exactly what to do, what to say, how to present it. What if they say this? What if they say that? So, yeah.
Thank you. all those communication skills, like they just still exist today, right? Go ahead, Crystal.
Well, I was similar to Jana. Like I thought about the way we built the first time before 2020 and Fast Chat came. And it just, as I'm sitting here taking notes, it just makes me laugh because I'm like, we used to be so good and effective at all of this stuff, but we didn't realize the magical pieces of it. And so we let a lot of those pieces go, right? And I've slowly been shifting back to a lot of this with my new builders. And I'm seeing results like I saw back in the day. And it's been harder, but it's been way more effective. And I'm actually spending less time spinning my wheels and more time getting results in my business. And it's just interesting. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because we were so good at it and we got in such rhythms of doing it because we were all working together so intently that we didn't know how to like pull our genius out and extrapolate what was so key to the success, and you've just extrapolated it. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's called unconscious competence. Right. So experts have unconscious competence. And since I couldn't even sell knives to my mom, I had to learn it. And I'm like, oh, this smart person says this, write it down. This smart person says this, write it down. And so I've been writing down all of your secrets this whole time where you guys are like, I'm just talking to people. Why don't you just talk to people? Right. And getting it in writing is really, really the trick.
Yes.
Shai says, definitely need to ask more questions, drive the value around the answers. It's kind of like having a lot of horses trained in the barn, having a few quality ones. Well, the shortcut's the long way, right? And the thing that makes builders quit is low conversion percentages. I remember the first network marketing event I attended, there was a panel of 6-figure people. And somebody stand up and said, how can I help my people get through all of the rejection? And the 6-figure earner said, looked at it from a 6-figure perspective instead of a $500 a month perspective and said, well, just remember, by the time you reach X rank, every no you got is worth $7. And the lady just sat down, like totally just so sad. And I went up to her at the break and I was like, or we could teach them to get yeses. Everyone's so afraid of sales training, they have to go to mindset training and deal with all the rejection because they never went to sales training.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
That's pretty awesome.
Insane. I never went to mindset training as a Cutco reps. I just sold stuff. Sorry, do you guys sell mindset training?
No, but everybody's freaking out there and their dog does. And that's the biggest excuse besides COVID.
Well, because it's very convenient for a trainer to tell you you're the problem and teach you nothing. And charge you thousands of dollars for it. It's much harder to read 50 science of selling books and convert it to an industry. And then convince people they need sales training. Much harder. I should probably go into the mindset industry now that I think about it.
Bad idea.
I don't know. They seem to be doing really well. Speaking of sales training, is it cool if I show you our 9-week thing? I'm happy to stay extra and answer some of these questions that are lingering. I don't know what your schedules are, but I have some buffer time. I'll just take a couple of minutes and walk you through it. If it's a good fit, great. If not, like I said, no big deal. All right, you guys can see that teal slide? No, this is the wrong one. This is my presentation from yesterday, sorry. Let's try this again. Crystal webinar. Okay, so the next step, if you'd want to take it, would be to learn the foundational skills for selling and leading with support. So our students get results. I know you guys are very awesome. What my hope would be is that we're able to create duplicatable processes that you can just hand over to your team, and to actually improve your mentoring skills would be the perspective I would take. Here's some results from our sales course. Averaging 2 to 4, now I'm averaging 6 to 8. More confidence in my skills, scheduling more appointments, more sales conversations, making sales. This mastermind was worth every penny. I started making back my investment. As soon as I started, I'm confident in staying on track with what to do each day. I had 13 sales during the mastermind. I doubled my sales during the customer first sales mastermind. If you're on the fence, stop waiting, stop thinking about it, just do it. You will not regret it. We are so confident in our coaching program, we will guarantee your results. Have you guys ever taken a course for a lot of money and it kind of stunk? I spent $1,500 on an email marketing course that lowered my email rates. I was furious. I don't like that, so we don't do our business that way. If you implement everything in the course and don't earn your money back, you will get your money back, and we will pay you for your time and trouble the same amount you paid. We operate with a 200% money back guarantee. This is what we cover in our 9-week course. The first week is an orientation. Then we go through time blocking and goal setting. Next is the sales conversation. So get people on the same page with your customers so it's easy for them to say yes. Recruiting conversation. So just the outlines and the slides. They're all engineered for conversion. Get more people interested in the business and then have them actually say yes. How to schedule appointments. So you're filling that schedule up, getting referrals and hosts. I don't know why no one talks about this. Referral generation. Network marketing is a word of mouth business. So instead of hustling on social media 4 hours a day, could we get one person from social media and then get 10 referrals from them? That seems like way less time. How to retain and follow up with customers effectively. We'll give you a 90-day follow-up strategy and wish list appointment. And then launching team members, what do we do when they say yes? The way we run everything is we believe leaders show up live. So each week we have a live coaching call that's associated with that week. So we don't just throw people in DIY, come and ask questions. It's like week 1 is this topic, week 2 is this topic. This increases accountability so people actually finish our course. The average online completion rate is 3 to 5%. Ours ranges from 30 to 50%, just even on the first round. We have homework assignments so that people can check things off the list and get all of their outlines done. We start on the 16th with the orientation. And then after that, the calls are Wednesday mornings, 8:30 Pacific. We also give everyone 2 run-throughs. Have you ever run a program and someone goes on vacation or gets sick or something crazy happens in their life? Then they miss a week, then they feel bad. So we give everyone 2 pass-throughs. So if they miss a week, they can catch up on the next round. How does this sound so far? Cool. And now you're like, how much? That sounds amazing. Well, our mission is to give hope, confidence, encouragement, skills to network marketers of all levels. I understand that you all are very successful. Crystal was bragging about that. We see this as a course everyone needs to take, like new hire training. We know that we should be charging $2,000 to $3,000 for this course, but our mission is to get good sales training in the hands of anybody who wants it. So we price accordingly. This coaching program is $591 or 4 payments of $197. Because Crystal is hosting this webinar, we don't do any affiliates. So we pass along the discount to the team members. So if you wanted to do it, we give you 30% off. That would make the entire coaching program $414. When I say it out loud, it kind of makes me a little nauseous, but I still think it's the right thing to do. Now, if you're sitting here thinking, Tasha, I love you so much. Where have you been all of my life? Please, I want everything that you do. Great. The second 9-week mastermind that we do is called Recruit Like a Boss. It is an 8-week deep dive into recruiting bottlenecks where we go through systems, vision, efficiency, effectiveness, understanding your leadership superpower so that you can communicate your promises to your team effectively. Jack up that recruiting conversation so it converts better. Book different types of recruiting conversations with different types of people. And then how do we get duplication of recruiting throughout the team? So we'll take the first one is like 1 week, each topic overview. And then this is a deep dive into recruiting. Oops, wrong way. So if you wanted to bundle, we'll give you the 30% off. Also the 10% bundle discount. So it almost ends up buy one, get one free. $747 for the bundle. Recruit Like a Boss doesn't start until August. So you do the first one and then the second one. I just said that. So quick recap, set up your customer first sales system starting on the 16th. If you register by May 1st, which I believe is Monday, we'll give you 30% off. And that makes our foundations course $414 or 4 monthly payments of $138. 4 minutes to spare. It's a miracle. I'll put the link there. I lost the thing. Are there any questions?
I don't think so.
No questions?
How many people are in your group, your training groups, Tasha?
Right now, like our last one was 30.
Mhm.
I mean, we're ramping up. Our goal's 50, but there's me and an assistant coach. So like Kasha will review, we review every assignment. So you put your scripts in, we will read them, we will give you feedback to make sure that they land right. I do the live coaching. We make sure no one's left behind.
Is it a Zoom or Facebook Live? What'd you say?
Oh, Zoom, like this, guys, like this.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll do an hour of like, here's the topic, let's do wins. Let's deconstruct some of the wins. Then let's write some of the things, like where do you guys need help? What I would look at this for you is to clean up your foundations, but most importantly, it's the mentoring problem. When you start to be like, okay, everything that I have is on paper and these are the issues that people have, you're going to be much better mentors and leaders. If you do want to skip this and talk about our leadership development stuff, just message me and we can talk about that off to the side. This is our basic stuff, but even our $1 million earners usually have gaps in the basics. So, I mean, if this training was helpful for you and you notice gaps, there are probably gaps in almost every part, to be honest. I mean, sorry. Little gaps. It won't be just like, oh my gosh, I never knew this. You're Jesus, Tasha. But it'll be like, oh, this is helpful and I can use this to help my team. So there's 2 parts for people like you. And you can get 2 or 3 people on your team to like come in with you at this price point, where if we move you up to leadership development, it's hard to do that, right? Most of our mentoring stuff. Can I address one thing that you guys said before we go earlier? Yeah, Jana says gaps and blind spots. If you saw any blind spots today in just that one part, they're in each of them. And I mean no disrespect in that. It's actually meant to build your confidence as opposed to be like, I don't know. Finding people who will work hard. Can I just take 5 minutes? If you guys need to go, but can I take 5 minutes and run through some of these things we didn't cover? I'll try fast. Okay, finding people who will work hard. Sarah Robbins is quoted as saying, the average $1 million earner has recruited 100 business builders. 80% of their income comes from 3 people. Do you have the guts to fail 97% of the time? Another interesting statistic, 85% of network marketers, distributors, their top goal is $500 per month. Direct Selling Association. We need to remember the rules of the game. The rules of the game of network marketing is most likely seasonal. It might become serious, but we will never know. Right? We never know out of the gate. And so for a network marketing leader to take a hiring approach without salaries is not playing by the same, you don't have a salary. You're not saying, work your tail off, work this much, blah, 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 here's 80 grand. We're not doing that, right? So what I have found to just be the least stressful thing to do, which also duplicates, our job is to invite, their job is to decide. They take a step, and then we take a step, and then they take a step, and then we take a step. The milestone method. We drive them toward their next first, but they can go through their next first as quickly as they want. And then we match mentoring time with the speed that they're taking, right? We're not going to mentor someone weekly one-on-one if they're only meeting with one person a week, right? So that's the take on that. Pulling the trigger, make it very focused towards the launch event, give them 2 options. Whenever you use 2 options, it increases take rate. So you can say something like, would you like to launch your business over Zoom or in person? You have 2 options, they're more likely to move forward. How do we get people winning? Jana, I think we covered that. Focus on their first, next, first. 90 days or more. So 90 days or more is mentoring, not recruiting. So a lot of people will smush the stages together, right? Someone starts as a connection, then an invitation. This is the journey. Then they attend a conversion event, a one-on-one, a Zoom, watch a video, whatever. Maybe they become a customer, then they become a builder, then they have their first sale. So I call that a launch, right? And then we move into mentoring. This is long-term. When you smush stages, everything breaks, right? Ever tried to go to a grocery store, you make a new connection and you try to sell to them at the grocery store? Is a recipe for disaster because we're smushing steps. You guys had that experience? Okay, so we don't want to smush steps. Smushing, mentoring, and launching, thinking about 90 days when they haven't even launched is premature. It's like getting mad at your baby that they can't eat steak. At the 90-day mark, we support what's called a calibration call, which is what are your profit goals? What are your profit actuals? How much time do you have? How many contacts do you have? And then we walk through their skills. This helps set them up for 90 days and beyond. Does that help? You got to separate what is mentoring and what is launching.
So if they haven't gotten enough wins at the beginning, they're not going to want to get on calibration call.
Well, that's right. So that's why we focus on the milestone method. And we're like, our goal is to get you wins as quickly as possible. And so it's just like this checklist. It's in week 8 of the sales course. And it's like, we got to focus you on your first sale. That could be tomorrow or that could be in 3 weeks. Right? Your more motivated people are going to say tomorrow. Then we're like first builder, third customer, first $100 check, first $300 check, first $500 check. And then we only tell them what they need to know in order to reach that milestone. This prevents us from throwing everything at them and making our baby sick. My husband, you can hear in the background, he's Chinese. Chinese babies are not allowed out of the house for 30 days. Why? So they don't get sick. But we get a new builder and we're like, join our company Zoom and our Facebook group and our builder Facebook group and my personal Facebook group and come to this team meeting. And it's like taking your baby to Disneyland. Now, after 30 days, the baby needs to go out or they won't develop properly. But in the first 30 days, until their immune system is built, we shelter them.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah, thank you. Lead generation. So in this calibration call, we find out, okay, shoot, you have 6 leads. Let's do a brainstorm of all the different ways we look at this, right? So we want to get appointments. And so what are all the different ways we can do that? We can do referrals and hosting. I believe this is mandatory. Otherwise, you're pretty much dead in the water. Hobbies and interests. Vendor. Business networking groups. Or business collabs. And if you have a different background, you can do speaking events, right? So let's say I'm a therapist. I could do speaking events for helping people with their emotional problems, and that builds my network. And then on the side, I can invite them to learn more about the things. They choose which ones they like. And then they decide online or offline. If they don't love their networking strategy, they're not going to do it. Networking is probably the hardest thing to duplicate. Have you noticed? And it's because if I can love social media, but if they don't love social media, they're not going to do what I did. And so we have found much more success, and like, you know, we coach people who are like, I thought I was going to do great and this is really hard and I don't know what to say, right? But when we have people choose, like their networking strategy could be to go play pickleball every freaking day of the week. That could be their networking strategy. Their networking strategy could be volunteer for the food bank, right? Or their network marketing strategy could be create an online brand. I think that people have a choice there. And by saying, Melissa, you have to do what I do, and we're eliminating choice, and we're going to decrease empowerment, and not on purpose, right? But if someone's a massage therapist and they could work with other massage therapists to do business collabs, and you don't have that resource, why would we stop them? What do you think about this? I don't remember who asked after Hot Market.
It seems like our company is kind of pivoting to like the affiliate marketing, brand partner, hot words. I don't know what you say, that people are familiar with. Like when you're talking about, you know, finding your first customer, do you coach and teach and train to, you know, inbox people, social media, you know, find your pillars of who you are on social
When you
media?
start, no way. Not when you start. When you start, it's like your sister and your neighbor.
Yeah.
We got to get them a quick win. And if they have product conviction, they've already thought that way, right? Those are the steps for someone who recruit. They're like, I love this product. Number one, you have to get them to love the product. Even if it's a business overview, it's a good business because it's a good product. I love this product. Internally, they're like, I know so many people that would want it. I trust this person. I can do this because you're reading from an outline, so they know they can do it. And then, oh my gosh, I can make money. That's the dominoes that fall. How you knock down those dominoes, you can play with a little bit. But in your experience, Jana, wouldn't you agree that when people are successful, you knock the dominoes down in that order?
Yeah.
And so we
just
want to make sure they get quick wins.
Right. I was just thinking, you know, we have them make a list of their top 15 or 20
Yeah.
and reach out to them. You know, I usually just say, if you normally pick up the phone, pick up the phone. And if you normally text them for a conversation. If it's Messenger, however you're used to communicating, that's how you.
That is exactly what we would support. And we want people to understand that those are practice appointments. You're not building your business on your friends and family. You're going to work out the kinks and you're going to get referrals. Right? The warm market is to get referrals more than it is to make money. And if we explain that wrong, they're going to feel really icky.
Well, and that takes the pressure off too, come to think of it. If they're like, okay, these are the people you're going to kind of practice on.
Yeah. And if you read the sales conversation that converts, they're going to make sales.
Right.
But they're going to be less weird and they're not going to have those same objections. And then I also just think, like, watch the language on hot versus cold, because self-fulfilling prophecy. So Jane, Melissa, I feel like we're getting along really well. But if I would have come into this and been like, cold, 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 I would have acted cold towards you. So be careful with the words we use, because if you say hot market, cold market, those are emotionally charged words, especially for new people. For sales pros, we don't care. But for new people, if you're like, oh, cold market, that's scary, and they're cold. Now I approach them as if they're cold and they're just like there. I like to use people you know, people you don't know yet. And that sometimes helps with new people to say, we're going to start with people you know for practice. And just to get you started, no different than a pizza parlor, their grand opening would be inviting they would have a friends and family night, but the pizza place is not going to run for the next 10 years just off friends and family. So we're going to start by doing a grand opening, and then we're going to also work on referral. If they get referrals right from the beginning, they never need another lead source.
Well, I like what you said when you said they're going to get conversions because they're going to read from the script. That I like that,
Yeah.
because they're going in confident that they have a guideline of what to say. Because I think the number one question most new people have is, okay, that's good. I'm glad I know what to do, but okay, now it's time to, like, I got my phone. Okay, now
What do I say?
what do I say?
Yeah.
And we have boards full of all this verbiage that's totally confusing and not simple.
Yeah, so we encourage our people to do, like, I call this a training manual. Let me see. Training manual template, Word. Okay, so here's a client's example, right? We have a place where they can set their goals. We have a place for their list. We have a sample schedule. They can time block. That image will take a while to load. Right? We have, here's the product information that you need to know. Here is, oh, I don't know why that's in there twice. Example appointment setting, calling someone you know, transitioning, sales conversation, wish list goes there, recruiting wasn't done for this client, but we basically put this all together. And so then we can just say, here are the outlines I use. Would you like these for a head start? Right? And whatever that looks like for you, right? You don't have to use my word for word stuff. I trust your judgment. But if our stuff isn't written out for new people, I would consider that to be a leadership gap instead of their motivation gap. We can look at what we can control, and then we can let go of what we can't control, but we need to have our systems captured.
Yeah.
Right? The great Jana Dyer, I want a transcription, a recording, and an outline of exactly what she says, and then I can read it.
And we do have that. It's just not on paper that they can have in front of them. It's like a digital boards. You probably heard of.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you got to be able to just print it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are all the extra things that you guys mentioned earlier that I didn't want to leave you hanging, and I hope it was okay to stay a little extra.
Yeah.
Anything else I can help with?
Sure got my brain rolling.
Say that again.
I said it sure got my brain rolling. Like,
Good. It's exciting, right?
Mhm.
It's exciting. Cool. Crystal, anything you want to wrap up with?
I appreciate it, Tasha. This has been very informative and helpful. I really appreciate you taking your time to walk through this with us today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Happy to
It's really
help.
good. Yep.
Happy to help. We're the
And you just email me the cheat sheet so that I can get it to everybody?
Yeah.
Drop it in the text or something.
girl. You know I'm trying to get people to message me.
Oh, sorry.
What is your Facebook group?
Her free group.
I was like, you're killing my group track strategy, girl.
Sorry.
No, yeah, I'll give you the cheat sheet. That's fine. Melissa knows what I'm talking about. Facebook group. I have two. Emerge Sales Rockstars is the non-Christian one, and Network Marketing Leadership with Christian Values is the other one. So most of the basic content is similar, but in the Christian group, we have additional pieces of content that are faith-based and link that do things together. So,
So the training will help us, like, we maybe create some systems.
Yeah.
For our teams.
Yeah. We'll test them first, and then test them and then share them along. And so this is skills, not systems. So you know how you buy out of the box systems? Probably the Fast Chat is a system. We focus on skills because then you can apply the skills in any system that you're in. So it's a little bit different than Tasha saying you need to do this and you need to do this and you need to do this. What we're going to do is, like, here's how you gain agreement. Here's how you do agendas. Here's how you learn about people. Here's how you listen, right? Here's a basic 90-day strategy, but here's how you always invite to a next step at the end of every follow-up. Here's how you do buffers, right? Skill development versus follow our system to get X results. And we can't control their network, but your network is going to be much more effective if you can convert.
I'm just curious, like those can, like you were saying I wrote it down here someplace. Well, maybe I didn't because it was on the slide that somebody went from this many sales to this many sales. I'm just curious, like what was like the price point on the sales that increased?
150 to 200.
$50 to $200. Okay.
150 to 200. Our average order target is 100 to 150.
Yeah, that was my question. What is the average target? 100 to
Yeah.
250?
We're shooting for 100 to 200, 50 to 80% closing percentage is what we're shooting for. Folks like you will probably end up 85 to 90% closing with 300 average order. Because you'll offer higher value kits because you have more swagger. Right. We would go, here's your lifestyle kit and here's your everyday solution kit. I'd have to look at your product line a little bit more, but we help everyone customize their kit offers. Because if you get the kit offer wrong, everything breaks down.
Right.
So we start with how to craft offer. How do you craft an offer? And then how do you build value in the offer in a way that doesn't make people's eyes glaze over? We are anti eyes glazing over. And you guys know what I'm talking about. So everything is written in a way that engages people, as opposed to, like, you can't talk for more than 3 sentences without asking a question. It's kind of the rule. And so that's where that helps, but it's all written out, kind of like your flip book, like my flip book. So that as people do repetition, then it increases. But our average results are 3 times sales, not our exceptional results. That's the norm, not everyone's like, okay, great, you had 100 people and you showed us your 1 testimonial. Ours is pretty standard. If you do the outlines. If you don't do the outlines, then. But we give you a prize. If you did the outline, we'll put you in a drawing. We do all that stuff.
Okay, well, I'm in. I'm going to do it.
Cool. I think that will be fun. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. I'm a lifetime.
I want to look at everything that I already have and put my head around some stuff. I want to watch this
Okay.
recording and try to and I want to talk to Crystal and talk to Kaylee. I know I'm going to talk to Kelly because Kelly's my downline, but because I know I've got a lot of this down. I just have to make it better for my people.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I think you and I are almost the same, Jana.
Yeah, I want a shortcut to put all our knowledge in one place. And
yeah,
it needs to be
Probably.
Streamlined. I think we have a lot of good content and options. It just needs to be narrowed and streamlined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, let me know how I can help.
Thank you,
Right. If you guys come up with something different that's helpful, I'm open. So let me know.
Cool.
This is just the easiest way to do it, and it's our signature thing, so it's dialed in. And then you can invite other people if you wanted to in the future, and it's not like a private coaching model, and there's some of that too, right? So just let me know. Crystal, I'll send you the cheat sheet. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say props to Tasha, because how much did you make last year coaching?
We sold about 500 grand coaching. We've had years as high as 1.4 million.
Yeah, I'm not, and I don't say that to, but when somebody's done that their stuff is good because it's word of mouth. And
yeah.
So anyways, like I said, I don't expect for anybody to come on here and feel any pressure to buy anything, but this is high quality, a lot of value out of what she's taught me and what I've seen in her free group. And so I appreciate you bringing it, Tasha, because I think this is where my mind is going with how I'm really trying to restructure things, the old days of marketing, and I'm excited about moving forward with a lot of this. So thank you again.
Oh, love it.
And I just need to I know where I'm supposed to be, and this is where God's called me to be. And I love Singular and everything we have. I owe to Singular, but I want it to be fun for me again.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think a lot of people can relate to that, Jana. Thanks for sharing.
And I
That's
feel like my biggest hole is at the mentoring.
Which part?
I'm really good at getting people out the door, helping them get their first sale and changing them a few things to do. But then going back and having a calibration call with them, that's where I get stuck.
We can
I
help.
don't-
We can
I don't
help with
know if it's-
mentoring processes. Week 8 has the mentoring processes, but I have something else for you. So shoot me a message. I can show you what we have for mentoring. But we
Okay.
have every mentoring outline imaginable,
Mhm.
like a skill development one, a troubleshooting one, a weekly one, a team meeting call, a calibration call, a change management call. We have every outline you can even imagine for a speech writing template, right? Like, we coach beginning to million. So, I mean, I know you guys are really successful, but all those words to be able to be like, here's my mentor outline.
Mhm.
These are the things I say. We have that. So maybe just message me and we can figure out what makes sense for you. I don't want you to feel like you're reviewing basics or that you're in, I don't know, Gen Pop. Is that okay to say? But we want to make sure that it is helpful to you. And so if you feel like I'd like to start at the beginning and tighten everything, we're here for you. If you're like, I don't want to tighten everything, give me more advanced stuff, we have that too. And we can just talk offline about it.
Okay.
We have all the things that make it easy for you. Could create it from scratch, or you can take a template and customize it. So
Fantastic.
I feel like I need to tighten things so people have the skills, they have access to learn the skills, and therefore they are responsible for their success or failure.
yes.
Right. And we just get really good at teaching the same things over and over again, which is what I felt like we had down, but it wasn't duplicable enough to where it freed us up to not do so many calls and so many meetings because the upper leadership carried about a bunch of that burden because we weren't teaching it effectively.
Yes. And that's
And
where
we burned out. That's when
fun.
that's when we hit the
Oh yeah. Because then if you have to close everything,
yeah,
you don't have a business.
needing to close. Exactly. So we can't repeat that structure again. There's no way that we can build this. We're
No.
all building phases. Like we're not at our top ranks right now. It's company wide. It's worldwide.
Sucks.
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
sorry.
But we've not lost enough to we've lost some, but we still manage great businesses. And when you rebuild a second time, we've got to learn what we did wrong so that we don't have that burnout and that backslide again, so.
And the reason that I
And-
personally went there is I was trying to leverage, but I think I went too leverage.
You leverage.
We did. We swung the pendulum too far this way, trying to automate it and tech it all out with automation and with verbiage tracks where we lost a lot of the personal touch. So we've got to get in the middle. Agree.
Yeah. Well, and please, friends, write down when you autopsy your first business, rest in peace. Grieve it, but also look at what you did well. That is the most important lesson, I think, from today, is how much of this you're like, I used to do this and I stopped. Most leaders, so when I do private coaching, the first thing I do is I say, what were your wins and what did you do to create success? We spend more time on what did you do to create success than what are the problems in your business, because we need to spend more time repeating what works than switching our entire process based on what doesn't work. Right? And that's how you get out of the self-correction roller coaster that you're in, is by also saying, here are all the things, like I'm about to go to Denver tomorrow with my business partner, and we do what went well in every single area of our business. And then we do what adjustments do we need to make. But the adjustments are not at the expense of what went well. And that's usually what happens. We make adjustments at the expense of what goes well. We drop what's going well, and then we make a move, and then we're like, what happened?
Sounds like our old chat calls, cheer, hard, action, tactic. By the way, those were good.
Those were good. We should probably do that. We
Should
should
probably bring it-
probably revisit some of that stuff and make recruiting fun again. It's fun. Let's try it, is how you started. Oh, you don't like it? No big deal. We're just so glad we're friends. It's like, what's wrong with you? Change your priorities. Don't you want this bad enough? Right? Like, let's keep what works, fix what doesn't, and help women be empowered. I mean, that's what we're all here together for, right? Is to help them have some more freedom in this world. So, yeah,
I love it.
good chat. All right. I'll send you all the cheat sheet,
Thank you.
and then let me know how I can help. My goal is to be everywhere, so you can't not find me. So just shoot me a message. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the extra time. I consider it a great compliment. And Crystal, thank you so much for sharing me with your team.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, Tasha. This was great.
All right, take care.
Ow.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Tea break. Bye.